I'm very happy right now. Today on Readus Reviews, I review Spider-Man Far From Home, the last movie in the Infinity Saga from Marvel Studios. Even though it doesn't feel like it. So being slightly true to their word, Far From Home picks up after Endgame, where everyone who disappeared from the snap reappears 5 years later, and everyone's trying to get back to a sense of normalcy. That goes double for Peter Parker, who's feeling the weight of his mentor Tony Stark sacrificing himself to defeat Thanos, and just wants to go on a school field trip with his friends to Europe. But even that goes haywire when Nick Fury, joined by Mysterio, drafts him into a fight against a group of beings called the Elementals. And now he has to stop an Avengers-level threat while debating whether or not he's up for the challenge to be the next Iron Man, or just stay a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. So as far as the story was concerned, I was pleasantly surprised at how well it was handled here. All the beats and twists were woven in nicely, nothing felt out of place or rushed. It was a very solid premise and was well executed from beginning to end. It still felt more like the beginning of Phase 4 than an epilogue to the Infinity Saga like Kevin Feige intended, and that's mostly due to the story wanting us to focus on Peter coping with Tony's death combined with all of the new elements they tried to entertain in the film. And while there are definitely more story elements that I want to talk about more in depth in like a spoiler talk video, as far as the info that leaked about Far From Home, well...
So that was a fucking lie.
So with that out the way, let's talk about the characters that stood out to me the most, starting with Peter Parker. Tom Holland continues to prove me wrong when it comes to his portrayal of Peter Parker. His portrayal this time around was just as enjoyable as Homecoming was. I also think that while it was clear that the plot needed his development to take a step back when it came to his confidence level, it was done in a way that I feel won't really hinder him that way specifically in future installments, which I am definitely looking forward to seeing. I'm also glad that there's more of Zendaya's MJ to go around this time. I mean, what we got of her in Homecoming was great. I personally loved the Helga Pataki light angle she took when it came to her and Peter's interaction and relationship. And while I'm glad that there's no less of it in Far From Home, it was nice to see a bit of her shell cracked in this. Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio was fucking amazing. I'll expand on how much I enjoyed Mysterio in my spoiler talk video, but just know that I was really digging what he had to dish out. His performance throughout was great and just everything that I would hope for from seeing Mysterio on the big screen, and it solidified why he's one of my top 5 favorite Spidey villains. However, if I were to nitpick, I would say that there were moments in this movie where it felt that they were trying to replace Uncle Ben with Tony Stark. Given one specific scene in question, I understand why the decision was made. But because the MCU has avoided bringing up Uncle Ben because they don't want to constantly repeat the spider trope on film, Far From Home is the movie where it crescendos for me. Personally, even if it's not the whole origin, I'd like to get at least a snippet of Pete, May, and Ben in the past so that his significance still holds up in Peter's story in the MCU. Shit, and if you want to stick with the whole John Hughes theme of the MCU movies, just cast Corey Feldman. But that little nitpick aside, Spider-Man Far From Home was pretty good. While I personally think that Homecoming has Far From Home beat a bit story-wise, I like a lot of the decisions that were made with it. I like the progression of Peter and MJ, both separate and together. And overall, the movie was just fun. I caught it at a matinee because, you know, Tuesday release and all that. But I definitely say that it's worth a full ticket price. So with that being said, readers, your homework assignment for the day. Write in the comments section below what you thought of Spider-Man Far From Home if you've seen it. If you want to help financially support the channel, you can join my Patreon by clicking the card at the end of the video or in the link in the description down below. where you can also find a link to my merchandise store. Or if you prefer to give a one-time donation, you can find links to my PayPal and my Ko-fi account in the description box as well. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because I post new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and every other Friday. But until then, this is Readus 101. Class dismissed.